Hello, first grade. For your math lesson today, you need math lesson worksheet 33. You will also need to have a scissors, and if you have a plastic baggie, a sandwich baggie that you can put all these in, that would also be helpful today. Today what we're doing is we're looking at pieces of a 100 numbers chart. And what we want to be able to do is put them together into an entire whole 100 numbers chart. So if you also want to have your red folder as a reference for you, you are welcome to do that. So today what we need to do is we need to first cut along these dotted lines. So you're going to go ahead and cut out all of these dotted lines. You are not cutting each individual square out. You are cutting on the dotted lines. Is it important that it's on the dotted lines and not the black line? Yes. It needs to be the dotted lines. Now, sometimes I like to put my paper into smaller pieces for when I'm cutting. If you like to do that also, you are welcome to do that. But you need to make sure that you still cut along these dotted lines. Okay, so here's what I mean. I don't like it when it gets all flappy like this. So I like to go ahead and I like to cut that off. And I like to have my individual pieces that I'm working with. So I'm going to cut these out like this for now. Just so that I have a smaller set of pieces to work with. Okay, but I am not cutting out each individual little square. They are staying in the boxes. You can tell I already cut away from my name. You're not going to need your name. Okay, now that I have all of that done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep cutting. So you go ahead and cut as well. I'm going to cut right along these dotted lines and only on the dotted lines. Okay, that's an 8, 9, 10. Wonder if that's the edge of my 100 numbers chart. That's 50. Well, that's 80, 90, 100. Maybe that has something to do with something. We'll have to see. Let's keep on cutting here. You might not be cutting the same pieces as me. That's okay. I just like to talk through what I cut. Just because it's easier for me then as I'm looking at my pieces. Sorry about that. 5, 6, 7. Ooh, bet you that's going to end up together. Ooh. Maybe. Can't wait to find out what Mrs. Friedrichs wants me to do with these when I'm all done. I'm done cutting them out on the black line. Okay, now that I am done cutting out all my pieces, I should make sure that my scraps are thrown out because I do not want to get those mixed up with my other pieces that I have. And now here's what I'm left with. And as you can see, when you cut it on the dotted line, it makes it look really nice and neat and even. And what we want to do is we do want to end up putting these so that they look like a piece or a full of a 100 numbers chart. But I want you to notice something. If I take this little chunk here, if I take this little chunk right here, and I'm looking at it, I'm noticing that it's still counting by tens if I start at the top and work my way down. 7, 17, 5, 6, 7, 15, 16, 17. Okay, that's just a small chunk of a whole of my 100 numbers chart. So I'm going to start and I'm going to find the one, number 1. I found it. Did you? Put that one out. We want that one to be in the far left. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, and 24, right? What comes after 4 when you count? After 4 comes 5. So I need 5 to come right next to it. But you can see it's still kind of chunky, isn't it? It doesn't match up exactly. That's okay. We're going to have other numbers that will need to go in there. Okay, what comes after 7 when you count? 8. Here's the 8. 8, 9, 10. So we're going to line that right up. Okay, so now you can see we have a complete row started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're good until we get right here. We're missing something. 21, 22, 23, 24. What comes after 24? 25. Okay, so you need to look through your pieces and find the one that says 25. 25, 26, 27. We want to stick that in. Yep, because right after 27 comes 28. Okay. It might not line up exactly perfectly. Mrs. Friedrichs just really likes to have it that way. I wish it would line up exactly right. Okay, so now, as I'm looking at this, I have some stuff missing in the 30s and 40s. 1, 11, 21, 31, 41, 51. Okay? Now, what comes after 54? After 54 comes 55. Okay, so we have 55 and 56. What comes after 56? 57. 57, 58, 59, 60. Nice. Now we're missing something underneath 51. Underneath 51 would come 61. And what comes after 76? 77. Oops. Oh my goodness. There you go. And as you can see here, even when you piece them together, you'll end up with your whole 100 numbers chart right here for you. That's going to be important as we're going through and practicing our work, and as we are looking into the next couple lessons as we're looking at pieces of 100 numbers charts. So what I'd like you to do, please, with this is I would like you to take all of your pieces and I would like you to put them together. And I would like you to please put them inside of a clear plastic baggie. And after it's in that clear baggie, why don't you go ahead and put it in your red folder or in your math manipulative bin that I gave you. Either one is fine. Just take some of the air out of it. Take the air out by squeezing it after it's partially shut. And that way you will not have your bag accidentally pop on you. Okay? When that is done, why don't you go ahead and let's grab out our class practice right away. So here's your class practice. We're going to get started right on this. Go ahead and make sure that your name and your date are on this piece of paper. Name and date. The date today is October 21st, 2020. October 21st, 2020. You will need to have out your red folder because you will be needing your weekday morning wake-up times for when we get to the bottom. So make sure that your red folder is near you so that you're ready for it. Okay, and I will be teaching you about number 2 as we get to it, so just make sure that you're ready to go. Number 1, it says, Scott had 12 balloons. 2 popped. How many balloons does he have now? Draw a picture and write a number sentence for this story. Write the answer with a label. Okay, so Scott started with 12 balloons and 2 popped. That means, is that some more or some went away? Some went away. So what do I need to do? I need to start with 12 balloons. They don't have to be anything fancy. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we learned that 2 popped. They went away. So I start on the right, and I'm crossing out 2 balloons. I need to know how many balloons I have left, or how many Scott has left, right? So you have to start with 12. 12 balloons. Minus, we got rid of some. 2 balloons. Equals, how many are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my answer then would be 10 balloons. Okay, so number 2. You have to trace the horizontal line segment, vertical line segment, and oblique line segment. Mrs. Friedrichs, I don't know what that is. That's okay, I'm going to show you right now. So there's 3 different kinds of lines. There are lines that are horizontal, there are lines that are vertical, and there are lines that are oblique. A horizontal line is one that goes across, like this. It goes straight across. That's horizontal. If a line is vertical, it's going to go straight up and down. That's a vertical line, one that goes straight up and down. And an oblique line is one that's going to go on an angle. It looks something like a diagonal line, but it's called an oblique line. Vertical, straight up and down. Horizontal, on its side. Straight across. Oblique, at an angle. And that could be either way. Okay? Now you need red, blue, and yellow. red, blue, and yellow so that we can go ahead and figure out which is which. So make sure you have green, blue, and yellow. I'm sorry, red, blue, and yellow. This is what I have with me right now, so this is what I'm going to use. So as you can see, crayon or colored pencil is just fine. So we're going to trace the horizontal line segment with the red. And it says crayon, so if you have crayon, it would be best that you use it because that's what it says. So horizontal with the red. Horizontal, we said, goes straight across. Says trace the vertical line segment with blue. Remember, vertical goes straight up and down. And oblique, remember, oblique is what goes at an angle. Trace the oblique line segment with the yellow crayon. All right, number 3. Divide each shape in half. Shade one half of each shape. Now, as I'm looking at a rectangle, remember I cannot go diagonal with a rectangle. So I either have to go with a horizontal line straight across or a vertical line straight up and down. And you want it to be as even as it can. With a triangle, remember you need to go straight up and down, from the point straight down. And you do have choices then with your square. You can go on an angle so that you have triangles on each side, or you can go vertical or horizontal. And now you have to shade one half of each shape. If you want to use a crayon or a colored pencil, that's fine. And it does not matter which half you shade, but it says one half. So make sure it actually is one half. It means one of the two pieces. You're going to use the weekday wake-up times class graph to answer these next questions. So, inside of your red folder, grab out the last one that we worked on, which is your lesson worksheet. We need that lesson worksheet today. We need to answer the questions. It says, how many children wake up at 7:30? 7:30 is 7:30. So how many of the children that we surveyed wake up at 7:30? 1. We're going to go ahead and put a 1. And then it says, at what time do most children wake up? Well, we had a tie, didn't we? So we have to say 6:30 and 7 o'clock. So we're going to write 6:30 and 7 o'clock. We have to put both of them because there was a tie. Okay? When we're done with that sheet, we're going to put it back into our red folder right away because we don't want to lose it. Number 5. It says, how many tally marks are shown? Okay, remember that when we're counting tallies, we're counting by 5s. Let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20. Now these are separate. These are individual. 21, 22, and 23. Remember, when it looks like this, that is when you count by 5s. When they are single like this, you have to count by 1. The back side of your paper is your responsibility. You can see exactly why we don't use marker. When you use marker, it does bleed through on these papers. Make sure that you have name and date. Number sentence with a label. Horizontal red, vertical blue, oblique yellow. Divide 1/2 of each shape, show 1/2 past 4 on the clocks, and at the bottom you need to find out how many tally marks are shown. Remember, if it's a group of 5 like this, a group like that, you're counting by 5s. These, though, you're counting by 1s. When you're done, please go ahead and make sure that this gets back into your Wednesday folder.